approve the minutes from the last meeting and just,
We had that already.
Huh?
We had that already. We did that.
you did that?
We approved and Philip seconded it.
That's the agenda.
That was the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I second it.
And then you second is, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, we, since we had missed a couple of meetings, we didn't do this October, procedure to nominate the chairman, the vice chairman, and the secretary again. Do I hear any nominations for chairman and vice chairman and secretary? How would you like to do that?
I'll make a motion to keep all three the same.
We have a motion on the floor to keep all three the same. Do I hear a second for that? And a second by Cam. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. I will accept, and Philip, you'll accept. Hopefully our Chris will also accept. Everything else on the agenda is, of course, all about our education. So, and I know that Grant has some things he's going to share with us tonight, so we can just go ahead and get started into that. And when it came to any budget concerns, that was really if you had anything. And then, of course, the attendance numbers I saw in your report that was attached this evening that you said with the number of kids enrolled this year is comparable to last year, so we're doing okay with that. So if you could.
We are. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to share with you all. We are comparable to last year. Now, I will tell you that that is always a year-long process. So what we start with, we will not end with, right? Because we'll have people that will move in and out. And so we anticipate that number will be a little bit lower. Just remember, though, that with the fact that the state legislature passed the Education Freedom Act, as part of that, they have established a funding floor. So there will be any district that was funded at a certain level last year will be funded at least at that level again and not below. If your numbers go up, then it would go up, but it would stay at least the same. Now, how long that stays into law, we'll see. I believe there's a saying in it that says, as funding allows. So as long as state budgets continue to be okay, then we should at least be funded on the same level as we were last year. So regardless of what our ADM looks like. So that's a positive.
Was there any concerns or any impact on the shutdown of the government to our school?
So none that were that caused any issue. Federally, that's obviously the only part that we would be worried about. But our cafeteria, our school nutrition program was funded through that shutdown, and so we were not in any way affected. We did advertise. Many of you saw that our supper program is open to any age, any kid age 2 through 18 in Warren County, regardless whether you're enrolled in Warren County schools or not. That's actually been the case for a number of years. And so I had a question of when the government opens back up, will that shut down? It will not. It's available the rest of the school year. So any child that's age 2 through 18 would have an opportunity to come in for it's more of an afternoon, evening meal as opposed to a dinner, but it's available to them. So
Back at the school cafeteria,
yes, sir.
at the high school,
Actually, any school in the county.
any school.
Yeah.
Has it started?
Yes, it's been going all year. So if you go on our Facebook page, and I'm happy to send information about it, but if you go on our Facebook page, we highlighted the times of when you can go. Now, the only requirement, it's a federal requirement, it's not our requirement, is that you have to eat the meal there. You can't take it. but you have to eat the meal there. And so that's been a
How
long
many
standing thing.
kids are attending?
I think we had, let's see, the first day I checked on the first one on the list, which just happened to be Centertown. I think there were 58 that attended.
Yeah.
So it's a good program to be able to share. Now, again, that's not, I mean, we facilitate it, but that's a federal program that's available. So I just think it became more noteworthy during time where maybe SNAP benefits were at risk. So.
That was the first time I had seen anything about it, when it was referring to the SNAP program, because then you got the federal, you received another grant to continue that program.
Yeah, so I do want to draw to your attention one item that I'm pretty sure you're going to see. I was trying to look as we were talking about that, which is on your agenda for the full county court tonight. It's GP6. So this is budget amendment 6. This went before financial management and budget and finance maybe 2 weeks ago. I can't remember, 2 weeks ago. So just so that the education committee is aware as you vote tonight, it passed unanimously in both of those committees. It's a transfer, unfortunately, from our fund balance into our state retirement, TCRS, Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System, audited our district this year and realized that there had been errors for several years, almost going back 15 years, in that when an employee signs up for TCRS, you are automatically enrolled in the 401k program. You can opt out of that, but if you don't opt out, you're automatically enrolled. All right. And so through when we consolidated with the county, that responsibility then went to the county. And so there were just, with our department and Justin's department, of course that predated Justin, really predated most of us. Something happened to where there were errors made where some people didn't opt out. And so they were charged for, they were supposed to be paying in, but they were not deducted on their paycheck. All right. So for an example, if I didn't want to pay in and I tried to opt out, then I should have been having something taken out of my check. Problem was, it wasn't being taken out of the check. So it was going into their benefits, but it wasn't being taken out of their check. So TCRS finally caught it and said, wait a minute, this is a benefit that's being paid to the employee. They're not paying in. So they audited us, sent that back and said that you are $100,000, actually $112,667 is what you owe us. And so Justin's department, our financial department, worked through that. Some of these people, I think there are 2 people on the list that are actually deceased at this point. Several of them don't work for the school system anymore. So the decision was made that instead of trying to go back and recoup things for employees that have been working for years, which would have been a terrible decision in and of itself, we would go ahead and take that out of fund balance and fund that and get that to the TCRS and get us squared. As I discussed with budget, finance and financial management 2 weeks ago, we really don't have a choice in the matter. We've got to pay it off. This matter has not even been before the school board yet. I will say that to them at the meeting in December. But nothing you all have to do as an education committee, but when you talk about budget concerns, that's one of the concerns that we don't like, but ultimately we've got to take care of. And so it will come in the form of a budget amendment in front of the full county commission tonight.
So does the school board still have to vote on it?
They do. Again, I can't vote for them. I don't have a vote for them, but at the end of the day, I don't see that we have any other choice. We've got to pay it off. So. Not something we like, but at the end of the day, there were errors made that we've got. I told Executive Bell this. I can't wait for the day that TCRS or somebody calls us and says, hey, we accidentally owe you $100,000. But that never happens. That never happens. I don't know why that never happens. So.
They don't have our number, do
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
As a matter of fact, I do think Justin worked on that. I think it's a lot worse
It was.
when he first come out
Yeah.
than what we got to, but they went back and done a lot of paperwork and got it reduced quite a bit.
So that he's correct. If there was an opt-out paperwork, if somebody signed an opt-out paperwork, then they were able to provide that to TCRS, and then they were able to bring that down. So ultimately, the budget amendment is for that amount that I shared with you. So other than that, we're, I think, doing fairly well budget-wise. Got some, we have some budget amendments that have been passed, but those are usually cleanup or grant funded. But other than that, we feel pretty good about where we are budget-wise. Any other questions? You want me to move on to cafeteria? I had made a mistake with, I thought we might be next door and I could show this up on the screen, but we're not. And so I have just one set of handouts here, but I'm gonna turn around and show this on our computer. This is my computer. This is the design for the cafeteria project at Warren County High School. Whoever's watching, I apologize.
I can move it over here if you need me to.
That's totally up to you. So I will preface this has not been approved, so it's like a final project, but as you can see, this is the existing cafeteria at Warren County High School. So if you can orient yourself, this is the existing space. And so this is a stairwell at the end of that. Most people don't remember that there's a stairwell down there, but there's classrooms on the top space. So there has to be egress. So that stairwell has to stay. So we can't get rid of that. So this is an addition onto that existing cafeteria. There's doors right there. So this would be covered entryway. And then as you can see right here, there would be an additional, we think about 7,000 square feet onto the existing building. This is an outdoor space that would be covered, but people could go out there in decent weather. It's a little harder to see just from the blueprint. This has already been updated because there were no restrooms in the new part. And so that's one of the issues that we have now is that the cafeteria bathrooms are outside the cafeteria. So there's constant flow back and forth from there. So adding some restrooms in this, I think, would be preferable. I'm gonna go down to the pictures. That's all y'all want to see anyway, right? So you can see this is just a rendering of what that would look like. The goal being, like we did at Centertown a couple years ago, we want to make sure it tries to fit the building as much as we can. So what you're looking at here is a front view. This is the existing view of the front of the high school, and this would be added on at the end. Okay. I'm trying to do this upside down. I apologize. Can't do it upside down. So this would be from the parking lot view. So if you're looking at the student parking lot, looking back at the building, this would be the end of that. And so because the existing building has 2 floors, it would have cost a great deal more for us to do 2 floors in the new section. So there's not 2 floors in the new section. So it would have really high ceilings in the cafeteria. So that's why you see those really tall windows in there. Yeah, so there's a rendering of what it would look like inside. And so one of the things that when we talked to the architect was that one of the issues that we have now is that when the high school was built, number one, the cafeteria wasn't big enough. Number two, the auditorium wasn't big enough. So what they said to try to remedy that is we'll add a stage in this area. A lot of places call it, and you can see it right there. So add a stage there to where if you need to have a class meeting that wouldn't fit in the auditorium, you could potentially have it in this building. It would also benefit us, I think. You can't believe how many outside groups request to have some sort of meeting at the high school. The benefit of this design is that you could lock off the rest of the building. You could potentially have a cafeteria setting to where community groups could come in. I mean, you're talking about 7,500 square feet. That would almost double the capacity of the cafeteria. So if you look at that section, you could have a really, really good community meeting or whatever meeting that you'd like to have in that section. So I think that's it as far as that goes. I like the overall design. Again, not something that's been finalized. Just to give you an update of, you've asked for an update. What they're doing now is they've been on site and taken soil samples from right outside the cafeteria just to make sure that that area is going to be fit for building. And they're working on construction documents so that we can get out to bid and then hopefully reward that bid and hopefully get the construction break ground maybe when the winter thaws. So that would be the tentative plan.
It looks great. That's like, usually like it's double in the size of it.
It is, and again,
Is the existing kitchen big enough to serve that size?
so it's a good question. One of the things that we try to do, I guess back when we were in school, they used real dishes. We don't necessarily do that anymore. So the dish room is huge. So potentially redoing some of that space to give them some more kitchen space would be preferable. Just, you know how things progress. There are more alternatives. There are more, not alternatives, but a la carte. Couldn't call that term, but it's more a la carte items. And so being able to redo that space a little bit would help us a little bit as well. So just making sure we've got it in front of the high school administrators to make sure they are comfortable with it, because again, a space that big, you're going to have to double your cafeteria monitors and all of that goes with that too. So, but they need the space. And so again, as you all well know, depending upon what we come back with bid too, we can put this out and somebody could bid it at a ridiculous price, and then we have to come back and change the design. So we've got a long way from being at the end of this project.
Have you had any talks or suggestions on how to fix the constant traffic jam entering the school every morning?
Yeah, so we talked about that in dealing with the potential of the lot in front of Hickory Creek, adding some roads there. Again, I've been very upfront with this committee. We still have just 2 roads coming in and out. But if you've been, and I know you've been, and one of the things that we're going to attempt to do by having that road is to get as much off of Verbilla or Chancery that we can get off the road. So potentially taking those 4 lanes currently to where everybody's going in and coming back out, and redirecting that traffic to where we don't have as much, 1, sitting here, but 2, having parent drop off go further back to the back of the building and back out, and then they would have to go right out of that. And so it's hard to explain sitting here, but I think you've got it in your mind.
Is there a plan to start that yet?
It would be a part of this project.
Right.
So again, I don't know that it's going to alleviate it completely, because you still just got the same number of cars. Now, if we can get them all off of, not all, but a majority of them off the main road, I think we could alleviate some of our issues. But long-winded answer, I'm good at long-winded answers, to say, yes, that's a major discussion of this project too. Because that's, I think, other capital projects, that's what's being considered on that campus too. High school gymnasium bleachers is also part of the capital projects. A revamping of the West Gymnasium is a part of that as well. And then before we get so far down that list, we've got a finite amount of money. So we'll depend on what these projects come back with. But those are ones that we're currently working on.
The tennis courts and the pickleball courts, they were a little further down the line, right?
They are designed, but again, it will depend on how much we have financially, I believe. So again, everything I say to you is still gonna go before the board for them but their number one project was this cafeteria. And so once we know a bid coming back from that will help us. I feel like that's the way we've gotta work. Project number one, this is what it's gonna cost. Project number two, this is what it's gonna cost. How much do we have left in that line item?
Okay. Right, you're ended with your capital projects discussion.
Yes, I mean,
Does anybody
again,
have any
we'll,
questions
we
about
can
any?
probably talk about that every meeting this year if you
Yeah,
want to.
no. Well, it's great to see that you've come this far with this project, so maybe it won't be too long before we'll have a
Well, I can't wait to invite you to
big ribbon cutting.
the ribbon.
That would be great. Okay, staffing.
Yep.
How are we doing with our school staffing?
Well, we're doing okay. Unfortunately, we had a resignation today. So we do have some openings. I think this one was at Dibble. But we're doing better. There was a couple years there where it wasn't just Warren County, it was statewide, nationwide, to where we were struggling finding some openings. But I feel like we've turned that corner some. We're still not seeing the level of number of new teachers coming to us that are licensed out of college. There's never been more opportunity to get a license for education at this point because there have been several routes that have been opened. You can do job embedded, you can do a waiver, you can do a program that, we have a couple of administrators that have been admitted to a program to add their administrative license. And that's actually taken place for free to the employee because there's been a significant investment from the state in trying to be able to get that. I can tell you the hardest jobs to staff for us are math, foreign language, and special ed. But we have gotten as of the beginning of the school year, every job was staffed by a licensed employee. Now, we've lost some along the way. And so that makes it very difficult in the middle of the school year because you're not pulling from your normal pot of people 4 weeks, 9 weeks. I think today is the 13th week of school. So it makes it more difficult. Now, some of those times you can get retired teachers to come back and fill that. But most retired teachers are pretty happy doing what they're doing. So we haven't been able to do that. We do have a couple of openings, but I do feel like that we will have an opportunity to get those at least taken care of as soon as possible. We'll have to have a sub in there until that takes place. So
what happens? So my son's actually struggling in 2 different classes, no teachers in either one.
Okay. No teachers?
He didn't have a math teacher until a week ago,
Okay.
a week and a half ago.
All right.
What
so,
happens with failing grades for those children with no teacher?
Well, so ultimately, they should have a teacher in there, whether it's a sub or what's happening. Now, I would assume if the new teachers come in, then they're going to be able to find out what's happened and what's taken place and give them the opportunity to make up whatever needs to be made up or try to get back into the swing of things, especially with math, if that's what you're talking about. I'm not sure, again, I would say that there should have been a teacher in there. Now, as far as
Some
being
subs, yeah.
hired, so sub would be a part of that. But what I would say to you is that if they're having struggles, reach out to that teacher. If the teacher's not responsive, reach out to the principal and we'll work through that.
What do you think our cause of losing teachers is? Is it pay?
Sure, it's part of it. But I would just say I've said this to this committee before, you know, education's hard. Education's difficult. Teaching is difficult because they're dealing with things that they've never necessarily dealt with before. Out of one side, you're getting we need to improve test scores. We need to raise the level of test scores. We need to raise the level of student achievement, which again, we say we're all for. But then the other side, people are saying, I wish we'd go back to teaching it the way we used to and try to give them experiences and all that kind of stuff. And again, something we would like to do too, but it's hard to serve both masters there. You know, I use this example, the 40 minutes of recess. Everybody in the world, I have a 5th grade student. He needs recess during the day. He absolutely needs to play during the day. He's got a lot of energy. But at the same time, when you've got these requirements to do 90 minutes of ELA, 60 minutes of math, all the other requirements that come with that, at some point, you got to take away or figure out how you're going to be able to do it all. And so that stress of being on teachers is very difficult. That's why I tell you math, most people that can be certified in math don't want to come and put up with the issues that they have to put up with. And so it makes it very difficult. Education is kind of being used as a punching bag right now. And so, again, I get it. We signed up for it. We got to deal with it. But at the same time, it's not an environment to where they feel like it's the way it used to be. And we're trying. They're dealing with issues discipline-wise that we've never dealt with as early as we're dealing with it. And so, again, I think education, in my opinion, education's a calling. But sometimes when there's so much difficulty, it makes it difficult to make them want to be a part of it.
We're not the only system. I know one
Oh, no.
that, I think they had a new teacher, maybe 6 weeks.
So I'm going to
So I-
assume,
A lot of that.
I don't know the details of what his situation is. But I'm going to bet that was similar. We had one that after 4 weeks, but there were details that I can't
So
necessarily
that's
discuss
not
with
only
that. So,
happening here, it's happening in other places.
so it's an issue again. It's something that pull up social media, pull up the news. You know, schools are talked about quite frequently, and that's when I get, you know, when I get upset is when public education's made out to be the bad guy. We're not perfect. I've never ever said that we aren't perfect, but one of the, you know, just like I talked to you about the cafeteria, we're doing our best to try to make sure everybody's fed. Last week makes me really proud, gives me cold chills to talk about the Veterans Day programs that took place in our schools. We're teaching kids that they should respect their veterans and their elders and all the things that come with that. And so without what our schools are doing, we don't have that. And so again, it's just a different environment than it used to be. And so I hope we'll get back to that. I do feel like we're somewhat at a turning point. We are paying better. Still probably not what we need to, but
No, we had, was it, I think, could be wrong, I think it was like 5,000. Did we give the full 5,000? So across the board, every teacher got a full $5,000 raise.
yes, sir.
And there's no, I mean, if it's money that we're talking to conserve as a business owner myself, unfortunately, I got to pay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there a way to conserve these teachers not paying more?
Well, we think so. Again, I would tell you that our attrition rate, which was people leaving us 4 years ago, was much higher than it was last year. So the opportunity that we have to raise the pay scale has helped that to an extent. It's just not where it needs to be. Because I go back to 2011 when I was a principal. At that point, all of our educational assistants were certified teachers because they couldn't get a job. They were just trying to get in the door until an open position came in. We are not in that spot anymore at all, not even close. And so, again, we've tried to be really smart about that. You know, one of the things that we've tried to do as our numbers have gone down as far as students go, you'll hear teachers complain about the fact that we've not rehired some positions. But that's also been done, one, to be fiscally conservative, but also two, to make sure we have the teachers we need in the classrooms that are doing what they need to. But to Mr. Stout's point, if they leave us 4 weeks into the year, I can't make them. And personally, if you try to make them in that situation, it's probably going to be worse than everybody. So you're right. You're a business owner. It's still at some point on us to make sure that we're providing the environment and the things that they need in order to feel like that they want to stay here and do the job. So we're working hard on that. I think we're making progress, but we're still not where we need to be.
I had asked you about this on the telephone, and I just wanted to share it again, and where you can share it with the other members. Where I had heard that we had legislation that was going to lower the standards for the requirements for to be a teacher of the college level and to an associate. And I asked if that was really going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll go back to what I said earlier. There's never been an easier time to get a license. Now that's a good thing and a bad thing. Sometimes you can get in a situation where you probably don't need to be in. The Speaker of the House's proposal was that you didn't necessarily have to have a bachelor's degree in order to get that. I would go ahead and say that that's actually an opportunity already in CTE and vocational education. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bachelor's degree, but it has to be some sort of post-secondary training. But I've not seen the details of the speaker's proposal. I know that it wasn't necessarily very well received, so I don't know whether or not he'll move forward with it or not. But to your point, he's just responding to what schools are saying. We're continuing. I think last year, and I don't have updated numbers, I know in Davidson County alone, they went through last year with almost 200 vacancies throughout the year. So it's one of those things that I believe politicians are trying to respond and give opportunities, but I don't imagine that's going to have a whole lot of support, but that's outside my control.
Do you have any spam? Do you have anything else that you'd like to discuss with your operations?
I don't think so. Just we're 4 days until Thanksgiving break, and so I know people are excited about that. And I think some celebrating over here in the corner, but we've had a really good start to the school year. We just spent the last week at the end of the week at the TSBA conference, which is the Tennessee School Board Association conference. Our choir was asked to come sing to about 750 school board members throughout the state, and that was very positively viewed. And I was very proud of those kids for representing Warren County well. And we continue to be asked. We presented about the cell phone policy. That continues to be something that people are interested in seeing how it worked here, and we continue to kind of lead that work throughout the state. So, but most importantly, I believe our kids are having a good start to the year, and we want to make sure that continues.
Does anyone have a public comment they'd like to make? All right. Any other business that might come before the committee? One thing I wanted to ask is about our meeting time. What really works the best if we're, really it's the three that, one that's not here is Chris and James and Cam, because you and I are not punching a clock. And so it's a little easier for us. So do the two of you have any comments on what works best for you?
I think the afternoon works best for me. I really like it when we got to visit the schools. We did that already. And this is not super inconvenient because we're already going to be here for the football game. Can't we got a comment?
Well, I mean, it is what it is. It's day. It's all about the day for me. No, it's gonna be fine. It ain't no problem.
Okay. see what
I-
it is.
I'm happy to go on the school tour again if that's what you all want to do.
I thought it was really good. I don't know when we need it again, but
Might be that
I did enjoy
there's
it.
some kind of projects or something that's coming up that would be a good thing to tour on a particular month.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let
Just-
you know.
Let me know if there's something you'd like to see. We can always schedule it. And I can be flexible. I'm here at most um, uh, court meetings too. So if you need to be on the day of the county court meeting, I'm
Okay,
happy to meet you on those days.
all right, then do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.